with our perfect punctuation series, and today we are talking about a few little different symbols. We're talking about the hyphen, the dash and the ellipsis. Okay. The hyphen, look right here, is a small line found on every keyboard, and it is used to indicate that a long word has been broken off at the end of a line of writing, maybe because there wasn't enough room to fit the whole word in on the one line. The hyphen is also used to join two words together to make a new one. Okay? The hyphen is never used with a white space. That is a gap made by tapping the space bar, so a space. Never does it have a space gap on both ends. That never happens either. Although in some uses it may have one space at one end. Sounds complicated, I know. We'll go with it. We should always try to avoid splitting a word if possible. But when it's unavoidable, then you should always try to split the word into two roughly equal parts, and where there is an obvious boundary. For example, inconsequential. Now that's a nice long word, and one that's likely to need splitting somewhere in a sentence or paragraph. So we'll use that one. We would avoid splitting it like this. The first two examples were not broken into syllable boundaries, so they had no natural break, and the third was just very, very unequal. All of these are too unbalanced and they don't have a natural break. Instead, we would try to split it equally, like this. Many good dictionaries make the syllable boundaries of a word for you to show you where a word can be hyphenated. So if in doubt, just pull out your dictionary and check. It's always better to take a moment to check something than potentially be wrong. Okay. Double-barreled names are almost always hyphenated, such as Jean-Paul, Anne-Marie, Philip Johnson Smythe. A hyphen is also used in writing something called compound words, which without the hyphen might be ambiguous, hard to read, or just overly long. There, more than anywhere else in the big wide world of punctuation, is room for personal taste, although certain principles might help you to make the decision on whether you wish to use a hyphen or not. Above all, always, always, always strive for clarity in your writing. Don't use a hyphen unless it's absolutely necessary, and where possible, follow established usage. And again, consult a dictionary, as it often shows the hyphens for you. Basically, use a hyphen to make your meaning very clear and to avoid any confusion. For example, words like landowners. They're all clear in their meaning, so technically any combination would be correct and understood, so it's down to personal. But on the other hand, words like emerald green would look so much better and easier to understand as emerald green. Now, here comes the important bit when it comes to writing, as we would be, that is for stories, both fiction and non-fiction. We would use a hyphen to make our meaning very clear. For example, you could write the following in a number of ways. Choice as to which you would choose to use. She kissed him goodnight. The meaning is very clear in this. But if it was written slightly differently, maybe like she gave him a goodnight kiss, this could potentially be confusing, especially for a reader who is not native English speaking. They could read it as a night kiss, which was very good, which makes very little sense. We must always be aware of our potential audience and cater for every eventuality. So, with the introduction of a simple hyphen, you could clear up any potential misunderstanding. She gave him a goodnight kiss. The hyphen shows that the two words are joined, so they make more sense. Let's look at a few more. Her dress is light green. Could be changed into she is wearing a light green dress. This book token is worth £10. could be changed into, this is a £10 book token. Her son is 10 years old could be changed into, she has a 10-year-old son. As I said before, it's all a matter of personal preference, your own writing style and how you like to construct your sentences. I'm just here to tell you the basics and the rules that you don't want to be breaking. Now, onto the dash. Most modern keyboards don't actually have a dash, which is noticeably longer than a hyphen. Because of this, many people will just use a hyphen in its place, or 2 hyphens to make a longer mark. Both are acceptable, and again, it's down to personal preference. The dash itself has only one major use. A pair of dashes separates a strong interruption from the rest of a sentence. The difference between a weak interruption and a strong interruption is the way that it disrupts the sentence itself. A weak interruption, like we use with the bracketing commas, is for an interruption that barely disrupts the flow of the sentence. It's just adding additional information. A strong interruption is when the sentence is violently disrupted by it. For example, an honest politician, if such a creature exists, would never agree to such a plan. The destruction of the NHS, and there is no doubt that such destruction is deliberate, is down to lack of funding and privatisation. If the strong interruption comes at the end of a sentence, only one dash is used. For example, the werewolves want peace, or so they say. There was no other way, or was there? It can be used as an interruption of speech, where the original sentence is never resumed. Jason, could you please take the... Oh, never mind, I'll do it myself. The same is used if a person is interrupted by another person while speaking. No, boys, don't go in the buff. The ellipsis, also called suspension or omission marks, has 2 uses. To show that some material has been omitted from the middle of a direct quotation, and the other is to show that the speaker trailed off into silence. So when the ellipsis is used to show that the speaker has trailed off, it would take the place of the dash in the last example. It does not indicate an interruption, but a deliberate choice to trail off and stop talking. For example, I walked in on my roommate and her boyfriend in the bathroom, and they were, you know. The speaker is choosing not to go into detailed explanation of what they saw, but I think we can all guess. So, to sum it up, you would use a hyphen to separate a word that is too long to fit into one line of writing, and you would use a hyphen to join 2 words together to make one word if it makes your meaning clearer and to make more sense. A dash is used to indicate where there is a strong interruption in a sentence. In story dialogue writing, a dash is used to indicate when someone is either interrupted or interrupted themselves, while the ellipsis is used to indicate that the writing has simply trailed off and is choosing not to continue. So I hope this little video has helped a little bit. If there's anything you're unclear of or would like me to cover in future videos, just let me know. Until then, blessed be and happy writing.